called The Imposter Syndrome. I think that's, or no, Imposter. Shoot, what was the name of this book? Let me see, Rob. Imposter's Handbook. Yeah. So it's good. I was helping him market the book, like to get an email list and to do email marketing and stuff like that. So, and I think he's done pretty successful, pretty well with it. And he created a second edition, like a second season of the book and some video courses. So he originally built tech system, or not tech. What was it called? It was tech that he sold to Pluralsight, right? Like,
yeah,
that.
I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but apparently he didn't get such a good payout from Pluralsight because it wasn't like life-changing money, which you would think, right? But not, not because
I was just reading some stat that maybe less than 5% of VC-backed companies, the founders will have any kind of life-changing payouts. Less than 5 or even less than that, like 1% maybe.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're getting a big payout,
which is very rare.
Yeah.
And the VCs are already they have taken up 80% of your company. So unless you're getting at least $50 million and over, it wasn't really like you're gonna start the grind all over again anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
VCs will take away 40%, 40 million, and now you're left with maybe 10.
Yeah, no, this was we're talking about Rob Connery. Because he had reached out to me because he's in San Diego. He was he created a company that was like Pluralsight, and he eventually sold to Pluralsight, but apparently it wasn't quite enough. Because I remember like a few, like, I don't know, like, was it 5 or 6 years ago, he was scrambling, or maybe it was like 4 years ago, and he was trying to figure out what to do because he needed to make money. He didn't want to go get another job, and so I was working with him on his Imposter's Handbook, like writing a book and then marketing that and building another business out of that. But he's always had really good like design skills and like the art part of it, but I helped him out with the marketing. Mm-hmm. It's funny though, because he's very liberal, and so in fact, I just got another one of these emails. All my liberal friends in the industry, when things are going fine, they hate my guts, and then when they need some help making money or not paying taxes, I'm back on the radar. So it's pretty funny. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I hate you until I need you to. So
that's the story of John's life.
I had a conversation with Ben Sullins, who I don't know if you know him, Chuck, but
I don't.
He actually was a chief data scientist at Pluralsight, and he lives in San Diego. When I first moved to San Diego, I had this conversation with him. We went for a run, and he was talking about Trump and his political views and stuff, and I was like, and he was just starting to build his own business and everything, and I was like, I get what you're saying, I get it, but let's see what happens. You're going to become a lot less liberal, a lot less democratic, a lot more conservative as you start making money and paying taxes. And he's like, I don't know, I don't think that'll ever. And he's definitely moved like at least one octave in the other direction after having to actually see what it's like when you're running a business and why it's not why the political things that he thought were so fair before are not so fair. So
yeah, it's always interesting when people they gain a different perspective, and it's like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that angle on things.
I think the biggest thing, honestly, like if I could make one change, if I were running for president, if I could just make one change that I think would have the greatest impact on the future of government, just politically and for the benefit of people, it would be one simple thing. I would require that employers pay you your entire full paycheck and you must physically send in your tax payment from that amount instead of being withheld automatically. If you just make that one single shift, that will that will actually cause people to understand what is going on and evaluate whether they want their money spent. That one shift.
That will cause people to hate the government, which the government does not want.
Because right now, right? I mean, do you remember when you got your regular paycheck? Like, you know,
You never knew what the real was.
Well,
Yeah.
I used to get a job, right? And so I'd get a job and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm going to make $100,000 a year. So then in my head, I would already calculate, okay, that's really 70. So you see what I'm saying? Like I'm already thinking post-tax, like I'm not even thinking that I'm making 100 and paying 30. I'm just thinking, oh, that's really a 70, right? So that's a big, and that was the biggest shift when you start running your own business and you actually have all the money, and then you have to take that money and you're like, okay, you know, I made $400,000 this year. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, here you go, Uncle Sam. Here's 200 of it. There you go. Right. That fundamentally changes the way that you think about things. Right.
Yeah, but most people don't even do that. They just get a new job. They know the number's bigger than the last number.
Mhm.
And then whatever shows up in their bank account is what they spend.
Yeah. But that's why, like, if people got the full amount and they had to write the actual checks, it would completely change the political, just the politics of the US completely. People would think about things in a lot different light. And that's what's actually that's the only, and the reason why that is so fair is because that's what's actually happening right now. The wool's being pulled over people's eyes because they don't realize that they're taking a big fucking paycheck and they're writing a check to the government. They just think, oh, that's just how it is. It's just withheld. It's just right. And then to top it all off, right? Here's the real icing on the shit cake is this. Most people get a fucking refund. Yes, right? So
I knew that was where you were going. So then people feel like the government's giving them money.
Yes,
instead of taking their money and giving them part of it back.
They're happy to get some of their money back that was stolen from them. Oh my God. It is such a fucking ripoff. Oh, God.
No, it's true. It's totally true. If people had to actually write a check every April or write a check out of every check, be a different story. And yeah, Manny's right. You know, the people in the government don't want people hating the government, but a healthy skepticism of the government, I think, would be a good thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I know.
When are we starting the Entre Politicians podcast?
Dude, it's been going on for 5 years, my friend. It was really good when Derek was on the calls.
I have seriously thought about running for office. I will say that.
All right. How's it going?
I'm so tired of selling.
All right. That's a good start.
Good.
I'm tired too because I'm putting in extra time because I've had to jump on a couple of podcasts I didn't plan on or had other things come up, and so I'd work late and oh my gosh. And some of this stuff like the email follow-up's all automated, but I have like a LinkedIn follow-up, which is turning out to be very effective, but it takes forever.
Yeah.
It takes forever because I have to go find them on LinkedIn. And then, and what I figured out is when I add them to HubSpot, what I need to do is I need to just add their LinkedIn link to HubSpot because that's how I identify who I'm reaching out to at the company in the first place. You know, because I go find the marketing person at company X. And so then I can just go click the link because what takes me forever is finding them again. So I'm doing some of the prospecting work again, basically.
Well, but as long as you get a system for doing it, that's repeatable. That's the key.
Yeah, that's the point. But the thing is that I can work out some of these inefficiencies. So instead of going and looking this person up on LinkedIn again, I just open up their contact profile in HubSpot and click the damn link and then just send them a message. That's way faster than going and looking them up and making sure I got the right person. That's all I'm saying is at this point, I'm refining a lot of those processes and some of the initial outreach is manual. Like Step 6 in my process right now is calling. We'll see how effective that is. It may or may not be effective. I kind of holding out the jury until I actually, have done a bunch of it. But like if I'm doing that, then that's going to take up a bunch of time on Monday, right? When I'm doing that. So the manual processes are kind of painful, but at the same time, I feel like doing that work kind of sets up the rest of it, right? Because it's like this guy's tried to get a hold of me.
Right.
He tried to call me, tried to reach out on LinkedIn, tried to reach out on Twitter, sent me an email, and now he's emailing me and basically giving away the farm as far as information about, promotion through podcasts for free. So maybe I'll jump on a call with him. But yeah, those manual steps, the reach out on LinkedIn, for example, or the phone call or the bomb videos, they just take more time than, once I get past some of those and it starts sending out emails, I might space those out a little bit more just so that I don't have to do them all right next to each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth doing.
But it's working. And I'm trying to figure out, like if the follow up on Twitter, I do that for 100 or 200 people and it has no effect, I'm just going to drop it out of the process.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to know where I should be following up initially just to see what's effective. And LinkedIn is looking really, really good.
Huh.
I get a ton of people going, oh, okay, what about this? And then, I answer a couple of questions and then they schedule a call with me. So
that's funny. I wouldn't expect that much on people message me all the time on LinkedIn and I completely ignore it. I'm like, in fact, it says on my profile, do not message me here.
I think there's a big difference between entrepreneurs
and marketers
and in-house people, like corporate employees.
Yeah, I guess
corporate employees are like in a different game altogether. As entrepreneurs, we get all sorts of solicitations for stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't but would you rather be looking at Twitter or LinkedIn when it comes to, would you rather look at a Facebook message or a LinkedIn message? Or Twitter?
Depends on where you spend your time. But the other thing is that even the initial follow-up on LinkedIn, for example, I'm actually talking to a couple of people next week because I have the message template already done, right?
Yeah.
And so them doing that initial follow-up on LinkedIn, I have them do it, right? I don't have to be involved, but I don't want them to respond to any of the messages. I'll just check LinkedIn every day and say, oh, somebody responded to that message I sent them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So so then I can do the kind of higher touch follow up, but they can initiate a lot of this stuff for me.
Yeah. Don't even worry about automating it at this stage. Just worry about coming up with a system that's effective.
Yeah.
Even if it's manual, even if it's time consuming, it doesn't matter as long as it's systemized,
well, that's the whole idea.
Repeatable. Yeah.
But if I can put 100 or 200 or 300 people through it, then I can say, you know what? I have a step in here to follow up on Facebook and it doesn't generate anything. So I drop it out, I move something else into its place and do that.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is if you have someone who's been helping you with it, to get them involved more in your processes and systems. And that surprisingly helps you clean up your process more than you think, because you're constantly talking it out with them and you're expressing, okay, do this, do that, don't do this, do that. And not only that, you end up creating better system because you can quickly see what they can do and what you need to do.
Right.
Most of the times they can do 95% of the things that you thought you needed to do. Like the more I've been working with my team, my writing team over the last 4 or 5 months now, the more I realize they can do almost, like initially I thought, oh, they can do maybe 20%. And I'm like, oh, they can do 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm like, damn, at some point, I just don't need to be involved as much as I thought I was.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm finding with a lot of that is, because with the podcast processes and stuff is that they all come up with stuff. And even if it's not as good as what I would have done, I spend 5 minutes tweaking it instead of an hour doing it.
Yep.
Right.
Let them create systems. Don't create systems yourself.
Yeah.
Hire someone, show him what to do, and let him or her write the system or the process document for you. I hate writing documents, especially process documents. I'd much rather have someone who I'm hiring to do that document for me. And then I can go and, so the funniest thing happened, like one of my writers first, when she came on board, she started writing the documentation initially because I forced her to write the documentation, right? Then the next writer comes along and she's like, oh my God, I couldn't really follow the documentation. I think maybe I'm not good enough for the job. And then we realized that the documentation was so difficult to follow because it's just, it's cryptic, because only people who have kind of understood it kind of can do it. Others just don't get it. And they're like outsiders who are like, what the fuck is this? The third person who came on after the two had actually improved the document, she was like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. I don't know what's going on. So they are again improving the document,
Right.
because it's not just perfect yet.
Yeah.
But if I had done it myself, because I had all of this knowledge, I would have fucked it up, because it's the curse of knowledge. When you know everything, you just write the worst possible document.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how much of the context, because I've just been writing the templates, and it's hey, if this, then use this template, and if that, use that template. And I mean, that's my documentation, right? But I don't know if there's more context that I've got in my head.
Yeah.
It just seems obvious to me that I didn't put in there. And so, yeah, bringing them in and saying, okay, if there's something you don't understand,
give them the document and say, go follow it. And then they'll come
Exactly.
back to you. And whatever question they have, say, put
Answer
that in the FAQ.
Yep.
Put that in the document. Whatever we talk about, put that in the document. Every time you talk about something, put that in the document. Before you know it, the document becomes way more comprehensive, and they can put the answers in Loom, or like you can record the video for those answers. And you have a much more comprehensive system than you trying to detail it one by one, which is almost mind-numbingly impossible to do.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
sometimes it's good to have them record themselves, like going through the process, so then you see what assumptions they're making. I saw this actually, this really good video of this dad having his kids write instructions for him to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? And it was hilarious, because they wrote the simple instructions. They're like, get 2 pieces of bread, get a knife, right? Put the knife or get some peanut butter on the knife, spread the peanut butter, right? Get some jelly, spread the jelly on the, right? What seems like sensible, but he followed every direction literally as if he had no context. So, he's like, it's like, put the peanut butter on the knife. So he takes the can of peanut butter or the jar and puts it on the knife, right? It's like, then finally, like open the, they keep on revising it.
Yep.
And at some point he like takes the knife and he puts the wrong end of the knife into the peanut butter jar, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, like when you watch this, you're like, because they go through like 5 or 6 revisions of it, and you're like, oh shit, there's like so many steps that you just assume someone knows from context. And if you've got someone that is like in that environment, in that context, sure, then some of those things you can use assumptions, but we make a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, we unknowingly, like, I don't even know, and you don't even know, Chuck, how many assumptions you would have made already in the process.
Oh, yeah.
But you'd be surprised.
Yeah. But I'm planning, or I'm hoping that I can get somebody in within the next week that I can start having handle some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And, even if it's just basic web research, and then, add people into the HubSpot, right? And then the next thing is, okay, I need help doing, some of this follow-up. So your job is to do all of the LinkedIn tasks every day. And then, okay, I think you've got that. So now let's upgrade or whatever to now you're going to do the Twitter tasks too, or the Facebook tasks, or you're going to work through these email processes or something.
Yeah. Like you're constantly evaluating what is the highest level use of your time. And that only comes when you have people working with you to evaluate what is the highest level use of your time. You just don't, you cannot manufacture that. I tried it. I never could until I had people working with me. And then only I realized what was going on and what was the best use of my time. And even now it's like going to take much more time to fine tune everything.
Yeah. But of all I've sent the initial email to like 70 people, and it's got like a 57% open rate.
Oh, nice.
From HubSpot?
Yeah.
And how many emails do you have in the sequence?
Right now I have 3 or 4, because I do a lot of the social media follow-up first. Hey, I sent you an email. Did you see it?
But anyways, you're getting 57% open rate. So why are you worried about that?
I'm not. What I'm saying is that it seems effective to reach out through email. The follow-up, I tend to be able to get,
If you're getting 57% open rates, I'm not convinced that you need to do anything on social media other
No,
than
no.
getting them on the call.
Well, that's the whole point, is getting them on the call.
Yeah. I agree. I think Chuck's doing the right thing there, because for a couple of reasons. One, a 57% open rate is actually not that much it's not that good when you're directly reaching out to people. On a list, sure, it's great, but it's not even good for the first email of a list, right? So you're losing a lot of people there. And then two, like, even though
at least they're seeing my name and the initial message.
Well, and it's repeated contact points, right? So it's going to be much more likely that they're going to actually get on a call. I mean, you can test it over time, but
the thing is,
it's better to do too much right now until it's all
unless you have any kind of understanding of how effective that channel is, you're doing all of these things, but not knowing which channel is really moving the dial.
Yeah, it might be worth like setting up another sequence that sends
put another cohort
or something and seeing how that works.
Yeah, put another cohort just through emails. First email, hey, I have this podcast and here's my LinkedIn and here's my Twitter. But by third email or second email, hey, let's schedule a call and let's talk about how I can promote your company. And do that and put another cohort through that and put one cohort through this. Because otherwise you're just doing all of these activity, but you have no real measurement of which one worked. But if you just went wholly after one metric, one medium, and you try to make it work, you would have much better clarity.
Right. And that might be interesting too, right? To say, because initially it's an outreach that says, hey, look, here's how you do customer promotion through podcasts. You can have guests on the podcast, you can sponsor the podcast, you can run your own podcast, and let's have a conversation about it. And what I'm hoping to do is, set up maybe having one of their employees on the podcast as a guest, and then at the same time also, have that conversation about the sponsorship, so that we're okay. How do we make these two have synergy, right? And because that seems to really get people in the door and really has us make some progress there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then I'm wondering, if I should send like 3 emails, right? And the first one's just, hey, I'm a podcast outreach expert. I also run a podcast network. Here's some info. And then the next one is, hey, here's a little bit more value. And then the third one.
Okay, hang on. Why do you care to tell people that you're a podcast outreach expert? Like, all I'm
saying is again, you're saying like on the third email, you ask them for the call, because I just ask them for the call on the first email.
Maybe you do on the first email. I don't know about that part. Okay, that's actually my fault. I don't know your process enough to know what is the best, but I'm assuming you're telling them, hey, we can help you get word out about your business in front of your audience at a very cheap cost and to a very targeted audience.
Right.
Through our podcast network. If you're interested, let me know. Here's a link to schedule a call. And by the way, if you're interested in listening to our podcast, here's the link. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter, here are the links, right? Second email again. Hey, by the way, I sent you an email about that topic and I'd love to connect with you. So if you have time, here's the link to connect. And I also created 3 videos on how you can get more value out of our podcasting. Either you can
I'm working on that, because I want to add that into
3 articles or whatever you want to call them. Create articles about that, whatever. But every email kind of gets them to the call, if that's what your purpose is. Every email is a call to action. And if you put 50 people through that cohort and just email 10 emails, and every email is a call to action for email, maybe you get 10 people on the call, and you close. How many would you need to close to make it work? Or how many do you usually close on a call?
I close a good percentage of the ones that I get on a call.
No, that's not a good answer.
I know. I don't have an exact number. I'm working on getting better numbers for that. But
what would be an estimate today?
If I had to guess, probably 25%.
Okay, so 25%.
Maybe even 30.
Okay, 30%. Out of those 10 people that you get on the call, 3 people closed. So 50 people you put through a freaking email sequence. You didn't do anything after that. No freaking LinkedIn madness and Twitter madness and Facebook madness. None of that. Just put them through that email sequence.
Yeah.
Let them self-select themselves, and at the end of the week, you got 10 calls and you close 3 people. That to me is worth way more than the frantic activity of going after LinkedIn and going after Twitter and going after Facebook. That maybe you do it after like 5 emails or 7 emails when they haven't really responded,
yeah.
and then do that later on.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
you're adding too much activity upfront to be able to measure properly.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to what you're
Yeah.
saying. I mean, okay, so here's the big
I really want to test it and just
here's the big question though. It all depends on the depth of or really the breadth of the market, right? Because that's what's going to determine how much depth that you go, right? Because what you're arguing for, Manny, is shallow depth. So the breadth needs to be wide. So it depends on how many people you're input. So what is your total addressable market? Do you have an idea of how many companies, how many potential sponsors there are out there, Chuck? Like,
oh, I have no idea.
Or let's work it backwards. How many do you need?
How many do I need?
Mhm.
20 or 30?
30. Let's say 30.
Okay.
30% close rate means 90 calls.
Mhm.
No, 100 calls. 100 calls, you get 30 people.
Okay, let's say 100 calls.
100 calls, you send 10 emails to 1,000 people. God damn it, man. I find it hard to believe that you can't get 100 people on the call after an email follow-up of 10 to 20 emails where you're constantly hitting them with value, more value,
Right.
connect. Like 10 emails, 15
yeah.
emails, you get 100 calls.
If you get 1,000 quality people, so the question is, can you get 1,000 quality ones? Or really, let's double it. Let's say 2,000.
Let's say 2,000.
Okay, so you need 2,000. Are there 2,000 contacts, like companies that you can reach, Chuck?
Contacts, not companies. Because you could have multiple contacts at Qualcomm in different groups who would be interested in different aspects of this whole thing.
Yeah, okay, say 2,000 potential.
Qualcomm, you could probably be talking to 50 people in their different departments to get that.
I mean, possibly. I don't even know what that would look like. I mean, I currently in HubSpot have about 200 people.
How many people have you contacted in your career?
Probably 200, 300, 400.
That's it? Over how many years?
Over 8 years, but it was different before because early on, it was, you'd say, hey, podcast, and they'd be like, here's money. And now they're actually looking at ROIs and things like that. And so it's a little bit different.
So there are more people who are aware of it. So it's a much bigger pool than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying that that I don't know what it would look like to have 2,000 people in my funnel. What I'm saying is I don't know at what point I start, because right now it's somewhat simple to go figure out, okay, these are all companies that are a good fit for me, that, that I want to reach out to people at. But then at the end of the day,
that you don't have 2,000. I'm thinking more like 20,000 to 100,000 contacts that you could potentially have.
Yeah, but where do I hit the wall and run out of?
When did you?
I can find easily.
I mean, because Hunter.io and LinkedIn probably get you all the emails that you want and more. If you started going
I
after,
hope so.
The businesses, if the Microsofts of the world and the Qualcomms of the world and all those big technology companies, you started going after them. I find it hard to believe that you can't even get to 2,000 in a quarter.
Yeah, but like the Microsofts and stuff, they are a hard sell.
Okay, so there's 2 extremes to this, right? So I just talked to Josh the other day, right? And what Josh is doing right now is he is selling essentially the service of getting clients, big clients, like 6-figure clients, contracts for his clients, right? So he has a company that will pay him 6 figures to get them a lead or a closed lead or 2 closed leads or 3 closed leads, right? In a 6-month period, right? So he's directly outreaching to them. So So I'm pointing out his example because his is the extreme, right? Okay, let's say that for when Josh is working with one of his clients, the list of potential customers they could get is maybe 10, 15 for some of these, right? So he's not sending them an email and having a 57% open rate on the 10 to 15. He's like flying out to them. He's taking them to a Clippers game. He's like, you see what I'm saying? To the strippers, yes, to the
Okay.
strippers.
The strippers
Not
game.
Clippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing a game with
That's the
strippers.
basketball team in Las Vegas.
So
Mhm.
he's taking them out. He's sending them stuff in the mail. He's contacting them in various ways, right? He's doing background research on them to figure out where they are, right? Like that kind of level, because he only has 15 possible
Right.
leads. So he has to land at least one or two of them. It has
Right.
to be. So that's the extreme. At the other extreme is kind of where we're sitting, Manny, and you know, and for the most part, where our business, where we've got YouTube videos out there, and there's millions and millions and millions of people that could potentially watch our videos and come onto our email list and
Right.
and buy our shit. So we can just send emails. We don't really need to follow up very much. I mean, we can just blast the emails. Don't need to personalize things really, right? So in between somewhere, it depends on where you're at, right? So the question is, what there's two questions here. There's one is, what is Chuck's addressable market? And then what is his accessible market? Because like he said, Microsoft is in the addressable market. It's not really in the accessible market, right? And the thing that limits the accessible market is one, just the gatekeepers and the ability to actually reach into those companies, but two, the ability to get the data itself. So if Chuck can get 2,000, Chuck, if you can get 2,000 emails, then I think you can launch an email campaign and expect to be successful. But if realistically you don't feel like you can get 2,000 emails right now, and then the question is, let's say that you can only get, let's say 200, then the process, then you're going to need to close a higher portion of those. So it's going to require a lot more high touch.
There's another question. There's the total addressable market.
Uh-huh.
There's the total accessible market. And the third question is, how many people can Chuck find with his resources? Right.
That's what I'm running into. That's what I'm talking about.
Chuck is trying to do it by himself right now.
Yes.
That would limit severely what he can do. So here's what's happening, right? Chuck is trying to find the people and then do all the outreach himself to make it all work.
Right.
What I'm suggesting is this will always lead to Chuck being completely involved in the process. But if Chuck stopped himself finding the people and he found someone who could actually go and find those people.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Then he would be out of this rat race of finding the people and sending LinkedIn messages and Facebook messages and Twitter messages to get them to convert. Getting 2,000 of such people who have software companies on tools and whatever that might be doesn't, I mean, maybe it's really hard, or maybe Chuck doesn't have the resources right now to find that. But if all he had was another person whose full-time job, if Chuck, if you hired John or me full-time to go find these contacts, how many contacts do you think we could find you within a week?
Honestly, a few hundred.
Few hundred, 200, let's say.
Yeah, no, that should be a day, honestly. That like
full time.
No,
yeah,
it doesn't even matter.
Right.
Even if you got, okay, so let's say 250. In a month, that person finds you 1,000 contacts. Could I found you 1,000 contacts in a month if I was just 100% dedicated to doing this for you, but nothing else? If I was like just figuring out every fucking possible way to find those people, doing like the research, going to Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever it was to find those freaking people all day long for 30 days, could I find you 1,000 contacts?
Oh yeah. In a month, easily.
Okay, well then this settles it. There's no other way out of this than just to hire someone to do this shit for a month, and you just you just create the most compelling email copy for them to get on a call with you and close this. And if at that point you did not close them, then you start the multi-pronged approach of hitting them on LinkedIn or Twitter or anything else like that. But right now you don't need it because you just have a pipeline that's empty.
But this is a solved problem already. This is This is not something that you even have to hire someone to do. I mean, to get the actual email addresses, maybe, but so there's a couple things here. So first of all, is that there's different kinds of prospects, right?
Mhm.
You have A-level prospects. These are people you already know or know you personally that maybe you've done business with before or have contacted and have a relationship with. Okay. You've got B-level prospects. These are people who are already advertising on podcasts in the space, right?
Right.
So you know that they're high chance of converting. Then you've got C-level contacts. These are companies that meet the criteria of other companies that are currently sponsoring your podcast or have sponsored your podcast in the past. And that's how I would divide it. I mean, you could probably further divide that, but A, B, and C, right?
Yeah,
What-
and I kind of take that approach anyway, right? Because I first go to all the people that I already know that I've done sponsorships with, et cetera, before. And then I go to and then I go look at all the other podcasts and conferences, where they're spending marketing budget on outreach.
Yep.
And then I go to companies that look like the companies in A and B, right? So they serve the same markets, they work in the same space, they have the same kind of people that are going to use them, and I reach out to them and I basically say, "Hey, look, we can do a better job for you than this other company's getting."
How much would you pay for a list of, let's say, 2,000 companies that met your exact criteria to be C companies in your?
Oh, I don't know.
Would you pay $5,000 for that?
I'd probably make it back.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, I would, if I were you, I would potentially, if it was a good list, I might pay $10,000.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what you do. You call up Gartner. Okay. And you say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a list of companies that are in the software development industry that have an employee size of 100 to 200, that have an annual revenue of over $1 million, that are in these technology, like, you basically give them as much criteria as you can and say, I need about 2,000 people. So let them take off some of their criteria and work with you to get that, because Gartner has all that data. It's this, and there's some competitors to Gartner that do these research, and they can just get you a list.
Yeah, but I don't have
list.
$5,000, so.
Well, I mean, okay, then get a smaller list, or I don't know. I mean, you have to be able to come up with $5,000 to be able to. I don't know how much the data will cost you, right? But that's what you need to do is just purchase a list of this data, and it might not come with the email addresses. It probably doesn't. I don't know. Maybe they do have contact for the marketing people, but you just need to. If you get a list of 2,000 companies that meet your criteria, then you can hire someone to go and find the email addresses for the marketing people for that, and that's like a 1 week task at a $5 an hour. Right?
Oh yeah.
So, but that's this is a solved problem already. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's research companies that specialize in this, especially, I mean, B2B, like sales, like these companies completely specialize in it. There's a list already of exactly what you're looking for that probably has 10,000 companies on it.
Right.
So that's, I would seriously look into that.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, one way or the other.
You're stuck in a rut in some ways because you don't have the money to do the front end work to simplify everything. So somehow you need to prioritize at some point to maybe it's Gartner, maybe it is just hiring a $5 a person, whatever.
I could hire a $5 person, $5 an hour person, and have them,
like, whatever your process
build
is
the
for
list.
doing it. Maybe you get them to do it, whichever way it is. You don't have $5,000, fine. Just get the person to do that work for you until you make that money back, and then you go take the next step in the process. Though I agree with John, if you had 5,000, then go find lists. You can buy lists. I mean, we were talking about that just last week or earlier this week in the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, that research criteria that John is defining, you give it to Gartner, they will provide you the list, or you give it to one of the list brokers, they will provide you the list.
Yeah.
Or you just freaking get that person to, do the work for you, to go build the list for you. Unfortunately, that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need the key thing is to understand like Manny's approach, which was basically working backwards from the numbers, right? You basically need 2,000, 1,000 to 2,000.
You're saying 1% close overall, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a good number to go after. Like 1% is a pretty standard conversion point for our email list. So I'm assuming with what you do and with the whole process you have and with the high ticket offer you have, maybe you get to that, because on phone calls have much higher close rates, but at the same time, it's a high ticket product and you don't know the people. So everything, 1% probably is the minimum we would expect.
Let's put it this way. If you get 2,000 people, 2,000 companies, and you throw them into your funnel, even if your funnel sucks ass, you will get all of your sponsorship filled.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why it's almost a guarantee. So that's why I like that approach, is like get 2,000 people and it's almost guaranteed. You can't even fuck it up if you try. Like as long as you basically ask them to get on a call and try
it's like going to 2,000 girls and saying, hey, would you like to go on a date with me today?
Right.
If you said only I'll try it for 10 girls, may not work. 100 girls, you'll probably get a date.
Right.
At 2,000, hell yeah, you will get probably 10 to 20 dates just by saying, hey, you're beautiful, I'd like to go on a date with you today. Just by saying that to 2,000 girls, you will goddamn get a date. You will get multiple dates.
Yep. So
let me put this on charger.
Yeah, and if you only had 500 people, then I mean, you'd have to like follow up. But I'd rather take the approach of I think there's 2,000 potential, and if you go after that, it's almost a guaranteed thing. So then all you have to do is focus on getting that. How do I get that 2,000, and then just keep on following up with the leads, because once you get them into the funnel, 100 calls basically.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, just go to 2,000 girls, tell them they're beautiful. Tell them you want to go on a date with them.
Sponsor your podcast.
Yeah. You want to go on a date.
Do you want to
with
date
them.
my podcast?
Boom.
You just ask them if they know anyone who would like to sponsor a developer podcast, and I bet out of 2,000 girls, there'll be at least 10.
Might be developers themselves.
Yeah.
Here's a thought. Why don't you pay John, or why don't you work an affiliate deal with John, or pay John to blast his email list and saying, would you like to promote your product or service to a list of?
I don't think it'll work very well.
I was going to say, I don't know if John's
your audience is very basic,
targets the right
early stage people.
Not enough.
You don't have enough like people who are trying to build their products and services, or who have businesses that would want to be in front of others.
I don't think so. It's got to be at a certain level in order to make it. There's like a few potentially, but
not enough.
I've done some similar type of things. Well, I can tell you why I think this is, because I sent an email to the entire list talking about creating the Simple Programmer job board and asking for anyone who's looking to hire, if they're to contact me to get on to put post jobs on the job board. And I got like one reply or two, out of that whole list. So
wow,
that's
these
like
are all job
crazy.
Seekers.
Yeah, for job seekers it would be fine. By the way, I killed the InfoStack, the promotion.
How many clicks did you send?
In the last week, let me see. Okay, week to date, 527 clicks, 7 transactions.
Oh man.
Total of $234. No one wants it.
That sucks.
Biggest waste of fucking time. I pulled the YouTube video, in fact, because I was like, the
YouTube
video was horrible. I got like, I put a special pretty link in there to see, and it was like 15 uniques, I think, and no purchases.
Well, YouTube, you can't work it like that. Like that's something you and I have talked about a lot now. Like you just don't want to YouTube won't work like that. You can't treat YouTube like email marketing. You literally have to treat YouTube like
Yeah, I
what
know, but
Meet Kevin does. That's the strategy on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, but that's when you're selling your own product or something, or like,
Even if
I
you were
mean,
not selling your own
long-term.
product, you would still say educate them about the 3 keys to accomplishing their biggest goals this year. But you have to educate them
Yeah,
and say, by the way, if you want to take action on these 3 keys, then go check this out. That might work better, but if you just tell them buy this product, man,
this
I
was
don't
just
believe
a
this will work.
test, though. It's like the fact that like no one. I mean, this was such an incredible offer, but no one cared. Like, so it's just not even. This particular thing is not worth promoting. One of the big problems they have with it is that
Load time is ridiculously slow.
and it's too much productivity stuff. Like someone who has a productivity problem, they look at that and they're like, shit, that's overwhelming. Then they're like, I gotta read all those books, right? So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's no good. So I'm done with that promotion.
How many email signups did you get for your giving up the book?
I don't know. I don't have a way of tracking it.
Why?
Because how will I know? Like, it'll take time before I see
what?
that.
I have everything tracked. I know
How?
exactly how many people are signed up for the free course.
Well, I'm giving away a book that has a
but you
lead
should have
magnet.
put it
in
behind a gated wall, right?
No. The book is just a download that they have.
Damn
there.
it! Put it behind a gated wall.
No. There's no point because the book has a lead magnet in it.
Half the people may or may not read the damn book to get to the lead magnet.
Yeah, that's true. But then I don't really want those people in. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways, for my course, they have to put their email address to access the course. It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, I guess
they really have to sign up to get the course. Even if you put that book in Kajabi,
yeah,
and give them login to your Kajabi, or let them access the book through Kajabi, they have to set up their login, email, and password to get the book on Kajabi. And now they always see, whenever they try to look at the book, they also see the Bulldog membership there.
How many? Oh yeah, that's true. How many have you gotten so far?
I have gotten around 100 people signing up for the product.
That's not bad, actually. Shit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I should have done something like that. That would have been better.
And not only that, now I'm putting them through an email sequence to educate them about everything that I am, so that it's not just about InfoStack, it's about me now. In fact, one girl actually bought my course, my procrastination course, yesterday after the InfoStack. Then she sent me a message this morning saying, your course is amazing. Thank you very much. It really was like it really changed my perspective on things. I'm so thankful to have found you. And I'm like, damn, within 24 hours, I got that email from her.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
I want to date your podcast.
Yeah. I want to go on a podcast date with you. No, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty pretty amazing to see that, the people that converted, and she actually took action. She studied the stuff, she got value from it, and she emailed me back within 24 hours.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks, man. I mean, InfoStack, I'm still gonna send them clicks next week, probably.
Yeah, send an email and see what happens. It's gonna hit better with your list than mine, right? Because your list is more productivity focused. So I think it'll do better. But I was like,
I'm surprised though. Bulldog sounds like productivity, like that. I mean, it's accomplishment, it's goals, it's getting shit done in life. I can't get them to buy.
Yeah, I think I don't know what the deal. I mean, I sell the membership, but I think people are conditioned for that. Well, again, it comes back to what I was saying about like why Simple Programmer sales dropped off, is because when I had the one product or even the two products and I was focused on talking about it all the time, right? It's like the multiple exposures has a big, or even with Bulldog Mindset, right? So remember, I was like, okay, I started giving away the membership. So I was talking about the membership in every video. And then I made the video for the $7 trial and like 60 people signed up from the YouTube video. out of like 1,000 watches, it's because it's on people, like it's multiple touch points, it's multiple exposures to the message, and and having a unifying message. When you're like, all of a sudden you switch the message, it's blaring, it's like an advertisement, it's not natural. It's like, now why are you selling this thing? It doesn't make any sense, right? People are skeptical. So I mean, unless your audience is used to it, right? Like, the Simple Programmer list now is used to it being more like an AppSumo type of thing, which is fine. And when you're on AppSumo, you expect that. But in general, like if you're trying to sell a product or service, it should just be that one thing. Like doing the affiliate stuff, it has a negative effect to your marketing message.
Yeah, you have to limit the affiliate stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
To get that to, and I mean, yeah, Simple Programmer is a different beast altogether. I think that's what the people are on the list for now. That's changed completely. Like you guys have basically conditioned the list to understand that that's the only way we do business around here.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be curious to see if your results are any better. I thought there might have been some kind of thing broken with their system because of the amount of clicks versus, but I emailed them and I haven't heard anything back. But or maybe their tracking is broken in some way.
No, they're using ThriveCard. I can't believe their tracking is broken. It's really simple.
Yeah.
I mean, we've used ThriveCard a lot now. We've done what, 5, 6, 7 promotions.
I did the thing to create an affiliate link with a tracking ID, and I created a separate one for the YouTube. But there's nowhere where you can actually see which one generated the sale, right? Or maybe there's no
the question mark thing. What do you call it? The
special tracking link for it.
By the way, there's remember I told you yesterday or on Wednesday, I was telling you that I sent an email to a segment of the list.
Yeah.
To the segment that had clicked so far to anything related to productivity, that had gone to any of my productivity sales pages, like whether it's procrastination course or double your productivity or meditation or productivity book summaries. That got as many clicks as the other email, which was sent to everyone.
Yep. That's because that most of the email is ineffective. It's only the people that are interested.
Yeah. But so in those situations, at times you can selectively only send to people who are interested, and it only got one unsubscribe.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Now that's kind of a compelling reason to do it, to send stuff that's only.
And it had a much higher open rate, which makes your life much better in the eyes of. Well, you don't believe in
maybe,
that, but
I don't know. Well, actually, here's something interesting. So here's a little tip from Josh when I talked to him. This I'm going to implement this and try this. I think it's worth a shot. So Josh said he experimented with turning off open rate detection in the email blasts, right? So right now, right? So if you send an email, yes. It sends a pixel. That's how it knows, right? And it's not even perfectly accurate, because in Gmail, right, it asks you, do you want to allow images, right? So it shows as a non-open, by the way. That's why open rates are deceptively low, by the way. But anyway, he said he tried turning it off, and he got a much higher response and click rate on that. And his theory is that Gmail and other email providers, when they see a tracking pixel, they know it's a marketing email, right? It almost has to be. So it's sending a signal. So if you get rid of the tracking pixel on it, and then I was thinking about this and I was like, do I really care what my open rate is? I don't give a shit what my open rate is. I care what my click rate is. I don't care if people open the email. I care if people click.
I don't know about that. I'm not sold on that, because it's an educational process that as long as people keep on reading your stuff, as long as people keep on listening to you, at some point they will click. So I'm not sure that just because they didn't click doesn't mean the email doesn't have value.
I agree.
Getting people to read email is huge.
I agree. But do I need to know the open rate? You see what I'm saying? It's like, I agree, all of that stuff. But the question is like, the open rate, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, let's say that my open rate is 20%, Okay.
Mhm.
If I put the tracking pixel in, but if I don't put the tracking pixel in, it's 25%. Am I willing to sacrifice, like, do I need, if I can go in blind and not know what it is, isn't that better? If I'm getting a 5% lift in the open
Well,
rate,
that's a
technically.
big
It depends on
assumption.
what you want to know.
You can,
Because
here's what I would do. I would split the list
Hmm,
50-50. I would send one non-tracking, one tracking, and see how many link
Yeah.
clicks you get. And that's it.
yeah.
yeah,
Then you
one
know
other
for
thing
sure.
just to put in there is that the open rate is essentially a measure of how effective your subject line is.
Well, many
So-
things. Yeah.
But if you're, I mean, there are other things, right? Your recipient names on there, your email address, and your.
But yeah, you're right. The subject
but yeah.
line in the context of this whole discussion. Yeah.
So essentially, what you're looking at there is, if you're experimenting with the subject line for a future campaign or something like that,
Yeah.
then leave it on. But if you're pretty confident that your subject line and everything else is going to work for you to get you kind of an optimum open rate, then yeah, why not just turn it off? And
By the way, I figured out how to never land in promotions folder.
Okay. How?
You just send a test email to yourself until the subject line is finally configured, which doesn't hit in promotions.
Okay. That's
Boom.
probably pretty good. Yeah.
It worked every single time. As soon as I started testing, I never hit the promotions folder because it's tested now. And as soon as Gmail, it works flawlessly every single time.
There
And
might be. Okay. Well, it's probably going to work 80% of the time, so it's probably worth doing then.
It's worth doing every single
Yeah.
time now.
I don't have the
every email.
folders turned on, so I never see the. I guess I
Well,
should
if
turn
you
the
do,
folder on.
you should turn it on just for the sake of
For
your
a
own
test one.
marketing
Yeah.
education. But literally, like if it's in promotions folder, I get like 60% of what I would normally get.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. But that test is like super simple, super easy. It
Yeah.
takes a minute to do, but then now you have the data on what Gmail is calling a promotions email and what Gmail is calling a update email.
mhm.
All right. We should probably wrap it up here so we can go hit the gym.
Chuck, you're gonna come join?
Heck yeah, I'll be there in about
Half
a
an hour.
day.
Yeah.
Day.
He's
You're
gonna
driving
run.
down? Oh,
He's
just gonna
running.
Run.
If I flap my arms hard enough, I get just enough lift to make it down the freeway faster.
Oh yeah.
I've got my half marathon tomorrow.
Okay.
nice.
So thoughts.
Which one?
It's Irvine half marathon. So.
All right.
Thoughts.
Okay, my thought for the day and the week is to detox your body from, or detox your brains from dopamine hits, constant dopamine hits. That's like the simplest way to get massive clarity in everything you do. And the way to do that is to basically do an information detox. As soon as you do an information detox, half your dopamine hits are gone. And now an information detox could be whatever you choose it to be. But the less information you will take in that is unnecessary, the more your brain will detox from dopamine and will be able to do better things, more regulated brain.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, I got one. You'll know, you'll have some idea of why I'm saying this one, Manny. But and I think it applies to a lot of things in life, which is, instead of trying to join the party, make the party. Right? And yeah, I'm sure you can figure out.
Mm-hmm.
but it works. It's true. It's like a lot of times what you're trying to do is, and especially on YouTube and in different places, like you're trying to become part of the in crowd, or you're trying to like join something that someone else has going. And the problem is that the thing they have going is at such a higher level, and you can't help but come across in a way that is needy, that you're on the outside trying to look in. So and that can work, but it takes so much effort to get in to someone else's party already, or the thing that they're doing. Instead, you go over and you create your own, and you build something that people want to come to and join you, right? And that's and again, that's how people make the most money in business anyway, right? When you think about it, it's the people who create platforms. It's not the people who join platforms or even become the best on a platform. It's the ones who create the platform. And even, you look at some of the marketing, like affiliate marketing, people who create entrepreneur dinners, right? Who bring together, right? Those are the people that are organizing things, that are creating the party, and as opposed to, and I guess that's probably a great example. Is like, think about an entrepreneur dinner, right? Like, let's say there's one in your area and there's like all these high profile people there, so you're like trying to network your way into it so you can get in there. Even if you get a seat at the table, you're just like, you're the nobody at this table with a bunch of somebodies. It's no good. But if you're the person who organizes it and gets people to go, and you're the host and you create the thing, you essentially create the party, shit, now you're the person who's more important than the highest VIP at that table, because, or at least on the same level, because you got everyone together, because you're the actual host. You've put yourself in a good situation. So do not join the party, be the party.
My thought is, and it's just because I'm too tired to come up with anything else, is work until you're exhausted and then keep working.
There we go.
I mean, honestly, it's as much as we talk about all the strategies and ways of approaching a lot of this stuff, it's going to boil down to how much work I put in, right? And, we're talking about how to work smarter, but when it comes right down to it, I've still got to go and I've got to bust my freaking rear end to get what I want. And if I don't, then it's my fault if I fail. I mean, if I'm doing the wrong things, it's still my fault if I fail. But a lot of people, they get in and they talk about, why it's not fair, why it's not right, why this, why that. And at the end of the day, they spend all their time complaining and they don't spend any time working. And it is their fault when they failed because they didn't spend any time working.
Exactly. Yep.
Hey, how do you like this as the title of a video? The Science of How We Ruin Our Lives.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should just tell people to trust the process.
There we go. Very nice.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
10:30?
Yes, 10:30.
All right.